Hey, all you resourcefuls, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I want to talk about pivoting. I want to talk about pivoting in a resourceful way to benefit you, even though you don't know always what the solution is or the process is. But as you go along and you're trying to make things better for yourself, things don't quite work out the way you originally thought, and you need to pivot and be resourceful. So during the COVID pandemic, I needed to leave my teller job at the bank because it was just getting pretty chaotic. And to be honest with you, I just wasn't coping as well as I had with many other things over my long careers. So in December of 2019, I left my job at the bank and went part-time. I was full-time at the bank, and I went part-time into caregiving, which I was already doing for a friend of mine to help her out with her mom. And so I just took on more hours and got another client as well. And I think I was doing about 24 hours a week, something like that. No benefits, no paid time off, but lots and lots of flexibility, and I liked it. And I decided at that time it would benefit me to apply for housing. So I did that, and of course there's a waiting list. And in 2020, let's see, I didn't get on the housing waiting list in 2020. I think it was 2022. Yeah, it was in the summer of 2022. In the summer of 2023, there was a murder in my building and attempted murder of 2 other people. And I had been trying to move out of my little town into a little bit larger city. I had already started looking, and I had already found a place and then didn't qualify, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't on Idaho housing yet. And to make a long story short, after the second attempt to qualify for low-income housing, that came through. Because actually the first time, it was really funny. We all thought the office, all of the different departments that go over all of your paperwork to make sure that you qualify after you've submitted everything, and they've called everyone and faxed everyone and so on and so forth. I didn't qualify for low-income housing. Like, it was something ridiculous, like $56 or $68 a month. Anyway, I got into another location for low-income housing, a very nice location, qualified, and I got moved in September of 2023. Still waiting for Idaho housing. So I'm only working, when I moved here, I was working about between 20 and 25 hours a week. And then in the spring of 2025, Idaho Housing contacted me and we started the application process. And one of the things that I was disappointed about is that they aren't completely transparent in letting you know how the process works, how they do the math to get to the point of qualification. So I'm just sort of winging it and giving them everything they need, and come to find out they say I make too much money. And I know that I don't make too much money because I have my tax return, but they won't take a tax return as part of the documentation to get qualified. So I have to write a letter to the board in another city and explain what my experience was. And I believe as a caregiver, because my hours are very flexible, that they're discriminating against caregivers because we don't have set hours. We don't work a 9-to-5 job, whether it's 30 hours or 40 hours a week. It's not like that. People get sick, shifts are canceled, people leave the service because they need more assistance than what we're providing, a shift is lost, so on and so forth. It's a little bit of up and down, but it all evens out in the long run. So the letter worked. Somebody at corporate gave the office here in Coeur d'Alene a call, and so I got a call by the office manager to come in with any supporting documentation except my income tax return, and to prove my argument. And so I went in with my documentation, my payroll statements showing, because they only wanted 3 months of payroll statements and it happened to be high. So I brought in the next 3 months to show how it decreased. So I ended up qualifying for housing. Now, what they don't tell you is that you can have low income rent, the rent that you're paying, that low income amount of rent, or you can have housing and your rent goes up because housing goes by market value rent in the area. They don't tell you that until you're all the way through. You've had your apartment inspected, and at that point, then you find out the rent is now this much, it was this much, now it's this much, they'll pay this much. And I was told because I was close to the ceiling, their annual ceiling, their assistance is not as much as it would be if my annual income was lower. So I'm not going to give you like the numbers, but let's just say I'm making under $30,000 a year. Now, how I am, what income I have is I'm working 17 hours a week and I have Social Security, but it's low Social Security. It's not like the maximum Social Security. And so my Social Security supplements my working income supplements my Social Security. And my rent has been taking either all of my Social Security, and I live on my work income every month, or you can flip-flop it, and all of what I'm working for goes to rent, and I'm living on Social Security. And I also am trying to get out of debt. I incurred almost $4,000 in car maintenance last year, and I'm facing what looks to be another $1,500 this year. My car is going to be 20 years old next year, and it just turned 200,000. Now it is a Honda, and they get great gas mileage, and they run forever if you're doing your oil changes, tune-ups, and all that kind of stuff. I don't have a car payment, it's paid off. But I have this debt looming over. Anyway, what I didn't realize is not only did housing not make it clear to me, also the gal that works in the management office here at the complex, let's just say that she wasn't the best at her job, and she didn't also let me know. I didn't know. It wasn't until September that I found out my rent was actually $1,300. The housing market value rent for this area, and it was no more low income amount, which was I was paying $1,050. I didn't know that, and housing started kicking in August 1st. So I just took the $1,050, subtracted what they were paying, and that's my rent check that I paid. I did that for August 1st, and I did that for September 1st. Well, after September 1st, the office here at my complex gives me a copy of my new lease. Now, I did get a copy of my new lease with housing, and when I went back and looked at it, it did say $1,300. But whether I'm a dingbat or someone needed to be very specific with me, regardless, I didn't realize that fact until I got a copy of my lease from the rental office here. And I took that, because I lost my breath, and I took that in to the rental office, and that's when, and the young girl that I had been dealing with since I started here in September of 2023, she got fired. We sort of know why, because she couldn't really do her job well. And so anyway, I went into the office, and so I talked to the lady in there, which I knew, and she explained to me, oh, well, your rent didn't really get raised. You either have the housing market value for this area as your rent for a 2-bedroom, or you have low housing rent, which at the time was $1,050. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So I go on my way, and I'm paying an increase of about $200 more a month. Now 2026 rolls around, and all of a sudden in February, that second week of February, I get a call from the rental office here, and they would like me to come in to talk about my account. And I'm like, my account? Okay. So I go into the rental office, and the same lady lets me know that I owe back rent. I'm like, how do I owe back rent? And she says, well, I think something happened when the gal got fired and you went on housing. Some wires got crossed, and you owe $250 for August 1st last year and $250 for September 1st last year, plus late fees. So we're talking about $620 or $630. So my stomach got a big knot in it, and I thought, oh my God. So now we come to the pivot part. It was actually a good thing, because what this did was made me realize that, one, I can't afford the rent. Housing is not really benefiting me enough. Two, they say, housing, that I'm so close to making near the ceiling of their annual per year income. That's why they don't help me more. But I know darn well that I can't, it's like I'm in this hamster wheel of poverty, and I can just make enough, but I can't get ahead. And they limit how much I can make a year. That ceiling is like 32.9. And not only do I have Social Security, caregiving, income, but I'm also trying to start a business on Amazon with my crafts, with my resining, my jewelry, my stained glass, etc., etc. So my income is limited. I can't get more help on housing. And just with this extra and I have debt that I'm trying to pay off. I did pay off a personal loan last December, so I was making some progress there. But now all of a sudden I have this new $620, $630 debt, which I need to pay off as quickly as possible. And I realize, oh, I need to downsize. I need to pivot. I need to downsize to a 1-bedroom. Which, side note, I went in and talked to my caseworker at the housing office last week to find out I'm actually stuck in the lease for this 2-bedroom for a year. So even if a 1-bedroom, which it did come up, available this month, I can't get out of this lease I'm locked into in this 2-bedroom until August 1st of this year. So I let the rental office know here that I had seen my caseworker at housing last week, and that's what she said about the lease. And there'll be the first 1-bedroom that opens up August 1st or after will be available to me. And so that will save me a couple $100s a month in rent. I'm going to get off housing after I get into a 1-bedroom so that I don't have my annual income limited. And number 3, I called my work office and had them add a 3-hour shift to my Wednesday afternoons. I work 2 shifts on Tuesday and Thursday, and I had 1 morning shift on Wednesday. I work Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So now I will have 2 shifts, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Just that 1 3-hour shift adds $195 to my salary, monthly salary. So those are all the resourceful pivoting that I have made and will make in the near future in order to stay resourceful. Because I don't have a husband, I don't live with a boyfriend, it's all on me. And to pay 100% of everything. Whereas when I was married or I lived with a boyfriend, everything was 50-50. It was great. Well, it's not 50-50 anymore. So I just wanted to share with you the benefit of pivoting as you go. And I hope this has been helpful. I hope listening to my story has been helpful. I'm optimistic. I don't think there was a good choice or a bad choice that happened along this path. I think that it's not about good or bad. It's just about practical and looking at things, looking at the situation, looking at the circumstances, and being practical about it and pivoting. So knowing that I'm going to downsize, I'm already having furniture from the second bedroom, which partially serves as an office and a studio. I have a secretary desk for sale. I have a printer cart for sale. I have a trunk that's for sale. And there'll be a small step bookcase that I will probably end up getting rid of, and a 2-shelf stand that I will get rid of that has supplies in it for my arts and crafts. And I already know I'm losing 300 square feet. And I've already gotten the floor plan of the 1-bedroom, and I know where everything will go. So I've got it all planned out. I won't have any big surprises, let's put it that way. Maybe some small ones, but not some big ones. And I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to the challenge that all this has provided, and being able to pivot and being resourceful. So if you found this helpful, if you've done anything resourceful this week, put that down in the comments. I'd like to hear about your story or what you've done or are going to do.